What up, the world? This is your boy, Angel I Am, here to just delay a little message on these transits that are popping out right now. One of the transits being Saturn and where it's placed. And Saturn is more like the holder of time, the discipliner. Also sometimes, the deceptor in some senses. It deals with control, deals with business, deals with broadcasting. The way you show yourself, the way it's meant to be seen. An example of that it would be like Saturn and Pluto, which are both conjunct in Capricorn right now, which Saturn runs Capricorn and Aquarius, and Pluto runs Scorpio. So with that style of placement, it's a broadcast. So Pluto, because it's the farthest planet, deals with your deep dark desires or your deep dark self. So with it conjuncting with this planet, well, it kind of passed, but there's still two energies that are working together. When both of those two are together, that's where that firm business broadcasting manipulation tactics and so forth gets shown on the show front. Hence why we have so much of this R. Kelly stuff popping up. Hence why we have so many other people that are coming about that we see in the limelight. Their dark sides starting to hinder out or starting to come out a lot. So that's really the definition of Saturn, is just that broadcaster. That's why it's in your 10th house, depending on your chart system. Sometimes it can be like mine, Capricorn is in my 4th house. So Saturn is in my 4th house right now. So it's broadcasting my home front. It's showing me like how my home is being in the style of restriction. Or, how it can show you how, if you aren't about your business, how all your stuff can trickle off because you're not focused and firm. Now, I like to work with Vedic astrology or Eastern astrology, as it's called, or sidereal, as it's called, because they say that astrology was based off the Eastern horizon. And if we have to go off like it being like an African tradition, well, Africa's on the eastern side, is it not? So I feel that energy, and regardless, whether we call it, whether we're passive on it or we don't think too much on it and think none of that energy over there doesn't affect us, well, yes, it does. So in Western astrology, Saturn is in Capricorn, but in Eastern, it's in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, being the adventurer, deals with your religion, your visions, a certain style of communication in a sense, somebody with something to say. And yes, I am a Sagittarius. But with Saturn being placed there, it causes a restriction to certain things. And because Sagittarius deals with adventure and travel, that means there's a restriction in your adventures and or travels right now. And it also, because the Sagittarius is more of a out there person, there may be a restriction to that. You may be more introverted. You may be more secluded. You may be more in the setback mode of like, being isolated from certain situations and or dealings and stuff. You may have to, bring yourself back. Because Saturn will allow you to go out and, make your mistakes, I guess you could say. Even though I get things happen for a reason, so not everything is a mistake. But nonetheless, if it's outside of your norm, if it's outside of what you normally would do, then it will allow you to have those experiences, but then they'll bring you right back and make you sit down and learn that lesson. So it'll restrict you from those types of things. So depending on where Sagittarius is in your houses, that's where Saturn Eastern-wise would be posted in, which is still drifting off of some of that Scorpio energy. So again, it'll be revealing your dark side and your adventurous ways. And if you look at it Western-wise, then Saturn would be in Capricorn, where it is in the second decan, but it's still feeding off that Sagittarius energy. So even still, there's still isolation in your business. There's still isolation in your adventures. There may be, isolations in a lot of aspects of your life. So you got to be keen to that, because you may be rebellious. Like, no, I can still go out and do this, but like, Saturn will give you what you want and not in the way that you want it, and then it'll be broadcast in ways that will make people look at you kind of sideways a little. And again, it takes a firm person to be like, man, I don't care what people think, but on the back of your mind, you do, because you still have to broadcast a certain image of yourself at the end of the day. So there's a lot of that style of energy going around right now when you have, Saturn and Capricorn in the second decan. So I feel like, again, second decan, that's like basically the second stage, since we're in the second year of Saturn being at his home sign, Western-wise, which would be the second year of it being out of Sagittarius, but it's still carrying that energy with it, because if you look at it in a cusp form. So with that energy being out, depending on where it is in your chart, that's what will be holding your restrictions and stuff. Like, say if you have Saturn in Capricorn, we're going Western. Saturn in Capricorn, say, third house, which is Gemini, and naturally ruled by Gemini. And Gemini being ruled by Mercury, so that's Gemini and Virgo. That's why Gemini is your third, Virgo is your sixth. But there will be a restriction in communication. There may be some things that you be wanting to say and, be outlandish with that type of information, but you can't, because it's like something that's just blocking you from actually saying what it is that you wanted to say. And at the same time, it's a learning curve, because then Saturn is teaching you to be more like conscious about what you are trying to say. Because Mercury will just fly shit out the mouth. It don't even matter. There's no filters. So what Saturn is trying to teach you is that there's certain filters that you need to like actually convey in your life to make sure the points that you're trying to get doesn't come across, just way out there, like flying out. Say if it's in your 8th house, which is Scorpio, it will definitely stop you from partnerships, because Scorpio, granted that's like, ran by Pluto, but Scorpio deals with, behind closed doors, partnerships, joints of partnerships. So how you divide money, how you share money with people, how you deal with like partnerships in general. Because I still feel it has like that energy of Libra, so there has to be that kind of balance. And then it's also opposing Taurus, which is opposite of Scorpio to begin with, which deals in value of self. So when you get into the second half of the chart, this is the second part. This is how you deal with others in that situation. So with Taurus being ruled by Venus and money, you have can I help y'all? What's up? Sorry. But with Taurus dealing with value, money, so forth and so forth, and then you got it in the opposed sign of Scorpio, that's what deals with, that style of partnership. So with Saturn there, then you may have a delay on that. There may be a pause on that. There may be a block on that. So if you and your partner were like just splurging, then that style of income may decrease. It may go away. You know what I'm saying? And then you won't be able to do what it is that you actually want to do with your partner. So it makes it harder for y'all to build that empire that you're actually looking to build. But it will help you hold and structure your money a whole lot better, so you actually can start putting it into the right places. You can put your energies into the right people. You can put your energies into the necessary things that will help benefit and shape your life. That's how pretty much that works. So that's Saturn kind of in a nutshell. I mean, there's a whole lot deeper realms, obviously, to Saturn. You could look it up and read upon those. But that's basically what it does in your astrology signs. and your houses, you know. And that's just a small example. I'm going to get heavier in depth into it, but I just wanted to make a short video on that because I just felt like that was something I just needed to kind of get out in a little bit. Because, you know, another thing I wanted to talk about was the moon cycles. Because we just had a new moon in Leo. But in Vedic or Eastern, we just had a new moon in Cancer. And I bet you a lot of the things that you've probably felt after that had to deal with home, had to deal with home value, had to do with home structure. Maybe you had to clean the house more. Maybe there were certain style of energies that you brought into the house that you had to start clearing out. You see what I'm saying? These are all the seeds that are being planted in home. And then the next one, the next moon that's coming up is the new moon in Aquarius, which in Eastern will be dealing with Capricorn. So the new moon really is in Capricorn. But you know, out here, we're looking at it at the Aquarius way. So once we get to the new moon in Aquarius, this is where all the actions, everything that you planned on putting into play when dealing with home, which was the moon in Capricorn, or Cancer, the full moon in Cancer, my apologies. Now that it's shifting off into the new moon in Capricorn, now you can broadcast that. You can go, because cardinal signs, or Capricorn is a cardinal sign, which is initiating, creating new ways of basically broadcasting what it is that you want to do. And it's a go for it sign, you know. It's kind of like Aries. Well, opposite Aries, because Aries is more of like a go for it, I'm about to do it, don't matter, da-da-da. Capricorn is like, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to broadcast it, but I have to do it in a structural style of way. There has to be a foundation behind what it is that Capricorn wants to move on. And that's another thing that Capricorn and or Saturn likes to help you build on, is the structure. So again, going back to the houses, if it was dealing in, like, say, again, the 8th house, which is, you know, you're behind closed doors and da-da-da, if you're going out of wild with that, then it's going to slow you down and make you build a certain style of structure, a certain style of foundation that you didn't have before. You see? So with it in, say, Eastern wise Sagittarius, right now Capricorn, that means a lot of your business ideas, a lot of your business structures, there's a heavy delay because you have to slowly see how it is to be built. It brings the people that are around you that will deceive you to take you off track of what it is that you actually need to be doing. And again, you want to be rebellious against that because it's like, oh, I'm just trying to have fun, da da da. But Saturn is like, no, that fun is done. And what is it going to do to benefit your structure? What is it going to do to help build what it is that you want to get to the ultimate best life? All right? Little side distractions aren't necessarily the direction that you want to be taking yourself when Saturn is placed in a certain aspect of your sign. And of course, there's conjunctions and aspects and sextiles that we can go into. But like I said, I wasn't trying to make this too long of a video. I just wanted to give a slow explanation of what Saturn really is about and trying to build upon when it goes into like a certain aspect of your life. So if you feel something that just completely slows down, and then you fully start working on it, because Saturn stays in the sign for about 2.5 years. So once it starts generally moving out of that sign, then you'll start noticing the freedom and the freeness that you have to actually like do it. But it's leaving with that structure and notion of what it is that you were actually supposed to be doing while it was in that sign. So again, it was the angel of I am. And, you know, I hope for the best for everybody. Love you all. Peace.